And there it is, guys. I told you that it would not last.
Think the board was mischaracterized, then the disinformation board is being shut down because of disinformation? Is that what's happening here?
Look, I mean, the board was put forth for a purpose, right? To make sure that we really did address what was happening.
What's up, guys? John Claymore here. And as you guys can see, this little disinformation board, this little Ministry of Truth lasted less time than CNN Plus. Okay, guys, there are two things I want to talk about in this video. The first, of course, is this little misinformation board obviously going under. Number two, I want to talk about why it is that they keep saying that they may bring it back under a different banner, but why it is that I personally don't think it's going to be coming back. I've been hearing a lot of takes on this right here, and I'm here to kind of dispel that. Also, something else, too, we're going to be going over that actual full clip towards the second half of this video. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and talk about Nina Jankowicz. Don't worry, guys. I will not be putting any of her music or any of her singing in this video. I will leave the other video in the comment section, of course, as you guys are seeing right here. But let me ask you guys a question, though. Who in the world would want this person right here? I mean, just look at her. Who in the hell would want this person right here in charge of misinformation? I mean, it's already pretty obvious that this woman's a feminist, and she's an America-hating liberal, and she's also at the same time very, very much a Karen. We already established that stuff right there going through her Twitter background in the last video, which, by the way, like I said, will be in the comment section. But many of the commentators have taken her to task, and now she's saying that she's considering resigning. And then it was reported that she did resign, and then she's come out and she has said that, no, I'm considering it. We don't really actually know. Very, very fickle these people are. But, guys, here's the thing. Taylor Lorenz, that person there, the one that we spent time talking about, the one who doxed libs of TikTok, only to turn right back around and get doxed herself and then whine and cry about it over Twitter. She wrote a Washington Post article about this, saying that it was a bunch of right-wingers who got her booted from her position. No, that right there is not what the hell happened. What happened is that the sumbitch was destined to fail to begin with. Yeah, it was destined to fail, like I said before. The Biden administration is full of absolute flunkies. I mean, from the press secretary to Buttigieg to this person right here to the ATF chief to the former ATF nominee and David Chipman, the Biden administration is full of absolute flunkies. This woman right here, Nina Jankowicz, just happened to be the most ridiculous flunky of them all. But as you guys can see, once again, this entire ordeal failed. Now, guys, there's this exchange between Peter Doocy and Corinne Jean-Pierre that they had the other day, the actual full exchange, which, by the way, we're going to play right here in a second. But I want to respond to that afterwards and go ahead and kind of let you guys know that I really and truly don't believe that this thing right here is going to be coming back, and I'll explain after you guys watch this.
Think the board was mischaracterized, then the disinformation board is being shut down because of disinformation? Is that what's happening here?
Look, I mean, the board was put forth for a purpose, right? To make sure that we really did address what was
Disinformation Governance Board at DHS to make sure that freedom of speech is protected across the country and that these platforms are not used for forms of disinformation. So what changed?
Look, the Department of Homeland Security, they began their statement repeating that the board had been intentionally mischaracterized, which is a little bit of what you were asking me, and they were explicit about what it does and does not do. It was never about censorship, policing speech, or removing content from anywhere. Its function was to keep Homeland Security officials aware of how bad actors, including human smugglers, transnational criminal organization, and foreign adversaries could use disinformation to advance their goals. As Secretary Marco said, he has asked former DHS Secretary Michael Chernoff and former DAG Jamie Gorelick to lead a thorough review. This is the pause that I was talking about, an assessment as members of the bipartisan Homeland Security Council Advisory Council. The board will not convene during that period, but the departments work across several administrations to address disinformation that threatens the security for our country is critical and will continue. So that work is going to continue.
So if it's pausing because you think the board was mischaracterized, then the disinformation board is being shut down because of disinformation? Is that what's happening here?
Look, I mean, the board was put forth for a purpose, right? To make sure that we really did address what was happening across the country when it came to disinformation.
And it's okay to wait now 75 days.
It's just it's going to pause. There's been a mischaracterizations from outside forces, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to pause it and we're going to do an assessment. But the work doesn't stop. We're still going to continue the work. The DHS is still going to.
At this moment in time, the current establishment, the current regime, the current presidency is not exactly what we call popular. Democrats as a whole are not popular. You see, when Democrats came into office, they came into office with a 50-50 Senate with a one-vote tiebreaker. By the way, you can't get legislation done with only 51 votes. You just can't do that. By the way, there will be another video that I'll be working on this afternoon that will also come out tomorrow as well. I chose to take Thursday off because I had to take care of a few things. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that in the next video, which, by the way, will have some updates in it as far as how the channel is going to go as far as the transition is concerned. But back on target. The thing is this right here. Democrats are not popular right now. They are not popular. You guys look at these polls that came from Interactive Polling, which, by the way, took these polls from Quinnipiac and SurveyMonkey. Of course, who else was it? Monmouth. These, by the way, are left-leaning polls, left-leaning pollsters who tend to overestimate the Democrats. And right now, the Democrats in every number are getting absolutely slammed and getting absolutely beat. So anytime you hear somebody say Roe v. Wade is going to be an issue this election, I don't think it's going to be an issue. If anything, Republicans are actually more motivated to actually go out there and vote as a result of it. Also, something else, too. When people talk about gun control, it being an issue, I don't think people care as much as you might would think. I mean, the Buffalo shooting was in a blue state. And while tragic, I think that it had more to do with their laws and their actual, I mean, they could have prevented that. And I know it's going to make me sound like a bit of a jerk, but I wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. Yes, it was a tragedy, but at the same time, though, this right here is what happens when you've got blue state laws and you don't have other people outside the actual grocery store or people who can walk around armed to actually help prevent that. But back on topic. The thing is this right here. People, for the most part, are caring about a few very important issues. Inflation, the price of gas, putting food on their table, and of course, they don't like the idea of a so-called disinformation board telling people that what they say or what they do may be disinformation. This right here is what the Ministry of Truth was designed to do. They claim it was designed to weed out misinformation, but we all know the only thing they're going to be doing is censoring center to center right to right wing or even center left speech. I mean, there are even people on the center left who now agree with people on the right, and there are even some people out there who are on the far left who agree with the right on this issue. And I think that these people are kind of turned off about a certain political party wielding full power over what is said and what is not said. I mean, we got this thing in this country called freedom of speech, and we can pretty much say whatever we want depending on the setting that we are at, depending on the actual rules of the place that we are at, or even on social media. And right now, I think people are getting a little bit fed up of having things like, say, this right here is misinformation, or getting kicked off the site because you shared a link from somebody else or you shared something from a right-wing source. I think people are getting a little bit fed up with that, and I think people are beginning to wake up to this, and they're starting to see this entire disinformation ordeal was a bad idea. Also, something else, too. Democrats in the past, their historical trend, they're not doing it now because they got to slam all this crap in real fast. Democrats, for the most part, in the past, they've always waited until they had an actual legislative mandate to actually do these type of things, which, by the way, based on the Senate map for 2024 and 2026, doesn't look like they're going to have the ability to actually create a mandate. So, no, I do not believe that this disinformation board will be coming back, even if it's under a different name. But that does not mean you should not stay vigilant. You see, there's a reason why these things are going to come out. They come out so that way we can fight back against it. It just so happens to be that we have an administration full of flunkies who can't implement this crap, even if they had help from foreign powers, which I'm pretty sure they do from somewhere. But I'm not going to talk about that here. Guys, John Claymore here. The next video will be about this WHO treaty and why it is I think certain people are once again gaslighting on this issue. And while concerning, I'll be breaking that down in the next video. If you like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.
Guten Tag, Herr Jones. Mein Herr. Weg. Tickets, please. Was?
No ticket.